today with our quote of the day before we jump into the video work. Today I picked one that I think kind of stays with the theme of social distancing. Beautiful things happen when you distance yourself from negativity. Right? I was thinking about this before I got started with the younger guys today, and I think this is a really easy time to start letting negative thoughts pile up. When we went through all the team meetings yesterday, the common theme was everyone's getting tired of being stuck at home. Everyone's missing their friends. Everyone wants to get out and do stuff. So I think negativity starts creeping in, and it's going to ruin this thing that we could look at as a pretty positive experience. I'm trying to think back on any time in my life since I was your guys' age that I got to spend or would have gotten to spend this much time with my family. And that just doesn't happen as you guys get older. Okay. So even though, you got brothers and sisters, you're probably getting annoyed with them or whatever. But let's try to spin a positive light on this whole experience and take more of a positive perspective rather than looking at this as a negative. So, even from a baseball standpoint, maybe this is a good time to learn how to have some self-discipline and learn how to go about working on your own and putting in the time you need to versus a negative aspect of, hey, I don't have a coach helping me out. Good chance for you guys to learn how to put working on your own. So I thought that was a good one for today. I'm going to spin the camera back around. Today we're going to do similar to what we did last time we were together. We went through the first week of our off-season hitting video, kind of reviewed that and talked about some ways to apply it at home. We're going to do the same thing today with the second week video. So I'm going to go ahead and pull that up. I'll talk over it a little bit, and I'll also just let it play so that for the guys that maybe didn't watch it the first time around or want a refresher, we'll get the message from the video, and then I'll try to apply it to some things that you guys can do while you're on your own at home. Give me 1 second. All right, so I'm going to play this. I'm going to pull the chat up on my other screen here. So if you guys are not able to see it, go ahead and type something in there because I won't be able to see you on my other screen right now. So I'll just keep that pulled up in case anyone needs to say anything to me. So I'm going to go ahead and play that for now. Start off by saying, great job last week. That's right. Energy that we need every week. We can commit to doing that every single week. Hang on, guys. This didn't happen the first session. Biggest challenge there is being able to do it week 2, week 10, week 20. When we're tired, we're not focused, we just had a bad day. Hang on, guys. I don't know what happened here. This didn't happen the first time around. Relying on teammates, push each other, and keep bringing it every week. You're going to see amazing results. In week 1, we worked on getting to and staying in an athletic position. Now, start adding athleticism to our swing. We need to work on movement. Hang tight for a second, guys. That helps us get to that point. So we need to start first by moving backwards. Start adding athleticism to our swing. We need to work on the movement and the rhythm that helps us get to that point. So we need to start first by moving backwards. I know that might sound crazy. We need to work on getting our energy gathered up. Sorry, fellas. Give me a second. This went pretty smooth with the first group. Hey, in the chat, if If I play this with this computer muted, let me know if you still hear it. Do you get the audio of that, guys? Dang. Hang on, I'll fix it. The last group, there was no issue. I'm not sure why I'm getting all that extra noise this time. I'll try this.
Start adding athleticism to our swing, we need to work on the movement and the rhythm that helps us get to that point. So we need to start first by moving backwards. I know that might sound crazy, but we need to work on getting our energy gathered up so that we can get more of it going forwards. That's going to be our first way of creating power. First, we're going to create lateral movement to gain velocity. Then once we stabilize, we're going to create rotational energy using the biggest muscles in our body, from our thighs to our back. That's getting ahead of us a couple weeks. So the first thing that we need to work on is learning what it means to gather up our energy and then learn how to control ourselves going forward. The other piece to this week is a word that we're going to hear a lot this offseason is posture. Cool. It's important that we learn to stay behind the ball in order to keep our hands moving through the hitting zone, getting to the ultimate position of extension at the end of our swing. There's different ways that we can talk about gathering up our energy. There's no right or wrong here, and every guy's a little bit different because of different body types and different timing. So we have to find a way that each guy can strategize to get their energy gathered up as much as possible and transfer as much of that going forward to the baseball as we can. Some guys take a step back. Some guys coil their hips by twisting in and then getting ready to go forward. A lot of guys right now in the big leagues, like Josh Donaldson, are preaching a big leg kick. A lot of guys that have a lot of success with that, and I'm a big advocate of it. It just takes a lot of time to put in, working on timing to make sure that you can do it consistently. So we're going to take a look at everybody's swing. We're going to talk to everybody individually and come up with a game plan that we can work on over the next few weeks to make sure that we're able to repeat this action over and over. All right, but before I talk for the whole video, let's pull up some screenshots. It's how some different big leaguers go about gathering up their energy so you can get an idea of the different options that are out there and what might fit your hitting style. In each of these,
I'm going to pause it really quick, guys. So as we're going through this, there's some different styles here. The big thing I want you to see in the main theme here is really just making sure that we get our weight going back before we approach the pitcher, before we go get the baseball. All right, I got to pause this because it's driving me crazy. All right, so you're going to see in these next screenshots, they're split between the negative movement and then the positive movement. So you're going to see here in the one that I have paused up right now, this is Bryce Harper getting against his backside. All right, guys, I know we don't have them because they cost about 60 grand. Not even every major league club has them yet, but force plates are a new tool that shows us how we get our weight and we use the ground to generate force. Okay, it's something that we have in the works, but they are really expensive. Not necessarily do we even need them for what we're doing at our place, but it's a good tool that we're using in hitting now. And a really good part of having force plates is being able to see how much energy you actually build up when you get to this position. Okay, so when we talk about a negative movement or a gathering up, it's getting our energy in position to then push forward with more force. Okay, and then once we get forward, you'll see in the next screenshot how we take that energy and push it into the ground. Okay, I'm going to keep playing and let you guys see it.
These clips, you're going to see starting position and gather position of each hitter, followed by 50-50 landing position of each hitter. We can call this our gather and launch or our negative and positive movements. So you're going to see that when each hitter gathers up, we need to make sure our back knee stays inside our back foot. That's the green line. Our front hip and front knee get coiled in. That's the yellow circle. And that our shoulders line up on a downward plane, which is the orange line. When we land 50-50, it's important that we make our positive move.
All right, guys, so you can see right there in that top one, he's up in his gather. Now, that's pretty exaggerated. Not everyone does it like that. But then how important it is to get from that position to that 50-50 position, or just that athletic position that we talked about in the video last week. This is honestly what starts the process of being a really good hitter. All right, all good hitters do this well. I think what separates a decent, good, young hitter to someone that's able to take that and play at the next level is how they're able to do this part of their swing. You know, a lot of good hitters at the youth level get away with just being big and strong. Okay, guys that have a good swing that plays in high school do things like this not only to be big and strong, but they get the most out of what they have. Okay, so adding movement to your swing is not a bad thing. It just takes a lot of practice to be able to repeat it over and over and over. Okay, so when you see all these videos of guys that have these types of swings, that's because that's what plays at the next level. And the reason a lot of younger players give up on having a leg kick or a step back or whatever that timing mechanism or that load mechanism might be is because they say, well, I can't hit a ball like that because I can't time it up. When in reality, the honest part of it is you're just not practicing it enough. Okay, it takes a lot of time and it takes a lot of reps to do it, but it pays off in the end. So when you start seeing this type of stuff, don't be afraid to build it into your swing.
Or our launch, that we leave our hands behind us and we move forward, creating room between the barrel of our bat and our hands so that we're able to create an athletic movement as we start taking our hands to the ball. This next set of clips takes place at the same position as our 50-50 that we looked at last week.
I'm going to pause it right there, guys. And the reason I'm going to is because it piggybacks off of what we talked about last week about flipping the tee around and not hitting into our net, but seeing the flight of the ball. I'm sure that you guys that watch MLB Network or really get into this stuff, you've heard the launch angle argument. And I'm honestly a person that doesn't say there's a correct launch angle. I believe that depending on the type of hitter you are and the type of exit speed output you have, there's a certain launch angle that plays into your game. Okay, so when we're talking about, am I a power guy that has the ability to hit the ball over the fence? Then yes, you want to hit the ball higher to do that. If you're not strong enough to hit a ball over a fence, then you shouldn't be trying to elevate a ball that much, because you elevating that ball more isn't going to get you a productive result. It's going to just be a flyout. So we have to assess what type of hitter am I and what is the proper launch angle for my style of play. The reason I'm bringing it up is because posture is the way that you can manipulate that. All right, guys that stand too upright or lean too far forward, they're not going to get the correct trajectory that they want. So when you guys flip the tee around, okay, rather than trying to change your hands, because that's really tough to do, if you're not getting the level of line drive or rising line drive, whatever that might be off the tee, first look at your posture. Don't try to steer the ball with your hands. Okay, you don't want to be too handsy. You just want to be in the right position.
It's important to note that once we get to this position, that our chest stays out in front, so our head's able to stay still, just like 50-50, all the way through contact. Note that our barrel of our bat is not parallel with the ground at contact. Most people think that our bat needs to be level, but in reality, we really want to make sure that when we work around our body, our barrel works downward so that we can work up through the ball at contact, and we're actually going to be parallel with our shoulder line, like you'll see in this last clip.
I'm going to freeze it there one more time before we go through the drills. Guys, I know there's a lot of differing thoughts out there, but this is the way baseball is going. Okay, so when you're doing drill work or whatever at home, absolutely no knock on your parents if they're telling you to swing level, but you're not swinging level. Okay, that's not what we're teaching anymore. We want to get down behind the ball, and we want to swing up through it. All right, science is telling us that is the right thing to do. You can see it in this picture. Posture plays a huge role. He gets down behind the ball early, and now when he gets to contact, he's going up through the ball. Okay, it's not necessarily an uppercut. We're just letting the angle of our body dictate the direction of our bat. Okay, so we're not trying to swing up. That's why posture is such an important thing, because if I stay behind the ball, like you see him leaning in behind the ball right now, the natural arc of your hands is going to take your bat the way that it's supposed to. Okay, if you stand up, more times than not, you're going to pound the ball straight into the ground. Okay, so if you keep hitting a ton of ground balls and you're not sure why, try to get to this position that you see right now. Okay, Cespedes is a guy, he's won home run derbies, he's hit 50 home runs in a season, he's a power guy. Okay, the reason he's able to do is he's strong enough to hit the ball over the fence, and now you see it right here, his body's in position to do so. Okay, so if you're having trouble elevating the ball, the first thing you should think about is your posture, not necessarily your hands. Okay, so we're going to go through some drills now that you guys can do at home. There's going to see some stuff in these drills that you might not have the right equipment, but I'll give you guys ways to do it.
Joining us this week is Jack Splett. The reason I chose Jack, in addition to being a four-year Indians player, is that the addition of a leg kick in last year's Power Hitters program took Jack from being a part-time player as a junior to raising his average 200 points and being selected as an all-area player at Wheeling High School last year. Our first drill this week is the 3-cone drill, and I know there's a 4th cone, but that's because I want to make sure that we gain more ground past our starting point on our positive move. Here you're going to see Jack step back and pause in his gather position, back knee inside back foot, front knee and hip coiled in, shoulders downward towards the ball. Jack's going to launch out to the front cone, making sure that he stays 50-50 through his finish, getting through the baseball. The second variation, Jack's going to add a leg kick, lifting his knee straight up, balancing, and working on a downward plane towards the ball.
I'm going to pause it right there. Just so you guys can see that position. I know you guys probably don't have cones at home. We talked about the other day using sidewalk chalk. Use some sidewalk chalk. I was thinking earlier, red Solo cups, probably another good thing you can use as a cone, just because it's easy to move around, portable. Everyone probably has them. So something to keep in mind. I know a lot of you guys know Coach Jack, who's in the video, so kind of cool to see one of the guys that helps out as a coach for us now that you guys have been working with do the same drills when he was a player that you guys are doing. So you can kind of see how it all pays off in the long run.
Notice when he lands, he's going to stay low and finish in the same posture as when his foot hits the ground. The last variation, Jack's going to go full leg kick, over-exaggerating the movement, so we really have to work on staying against our back hip. Our next drill is jump backs. First variation, we're going to start with the same footwork as the 3-cone drill, stepping back.
All right, guys, I'm pausing it there because I know you don't have this ramp at home, right? We have them at the facility. I know you guys don't have them. That's fine. Do it on flat ground. All right, you can do a step back or a jump back on flat ground. It's more about the movement than having the ramp. Okay, you should just make sure you still feel yourself gather against that back hip, but I also have guys do this on flat ground when we're doing training, so you'll be just fine doing it that way.
Back and pausing in a gather position before we launch out to our 50-50 and get through the ball. We use the ramps for more leverage so we can learn to create more energy working downwards on our positive movement towards baseball. The second variation is the full drill. We're going to jump with our back foot onto the platform, working against our back hip so that we can work on getting a push off and using as much energy as we can to get out and stay.
Pausing it right there, just so you guys can really see. When he jumps back and gets to that position, his energy is pushing forward. Even when he's gathering up, his weight doesn't go over his back foot. It's important that the weight stays inside the back foot so you can now change that energy and work downhill going forward. Okay, so from this position, now you're going on the ball, but this is the gather position. I'll use the mouse cursor. You can see his front hip is turned in, okay? His knees tucked just a little bit. His shoulders are in a good spot. Okay, that's where we want to be when we get to that gather, right, where we're getting against our back hip so we can push going down to the ball.
Stabilize in our 50-50 position. Now that we understand what it means to...
All right. I'm going to get back to the regular screen. Turn this one back on so you guys can see. Sorry about the technical difficulties there for a few minutes. One second.
All right. Don't know why that happened. Didn't happen with the first group, but that's all right. Hopefully you guys
we're able to take something away from that and understand exactly how that applies and how to take what we did last week and put it into those drills for this week. So now we're working on, last week we worked on where we want to get to, that athletic position with a good base. And now we're going to talk about what we have to do prior to that to make that the most efficient that it can be. So now we're talking about getting our energy gathered up first to go down towards the ball as hard as we can. And then really in that 50-50 position, we want to create as much ground force as we're able to. So once we get to that 50-50, we want to keep everything working down into the ground. We don't want anything starting to elevate past that point. Okay, creating ground force is one of the best ways that we're learning is we're able to create power. Without ground force, there is no power. So guys that find themselves coming up off their front foot as they're starting to get through the ball, if my heel's starting to come off the ground, I'm losing a lot of energy that needs to be going into the floor. Okay, so when we're hitting, I heard this years ago, John Carlos Stanton in an interview said, all I'm trying to do when I hit is screw myself into the ground as hard as I can. That's a great way of thinking about ground force. Okay, so this weekend, use those drills that we just worked on or that we just talked about here. Okay, pair that up with the drills that we had in the video on Tuesday or Wednesday, whatever day that was. Okay, now you have a little bit of a routine to do for the next 3 or 4 days. Okay, so there were 4 drills total between the 2 days. Do 10 of each of those drills. Okay, do them hitting into the screen and do them hitting away from the screen. Okay, if you can flip the screen around or flip the tee around and see how those drills affect the flight of the ball, that's even better because now we're going to see how that plays out in a game. All right. Before I let you go, I sent an email to your parents before the sessions today. Yeah, Cam, we'll do sessions next week. I'll send your parents an email about it because we're going to change the schedule up a little bit. We're going to do the group hang sessions that we did yesterday. We're just going to do them a little bit differently, but we will be meeting still every day next week. What I want you guys to do, I sent your parents this email. I'm not a big believer in sitting in front of a Skype or a FaceTime and watching you guys hack and hack and hack. That's not productive. Telling you what you're doing on every single swing, that doesn't give you guys a chance to feel out what you're doing. But what I am willing to do for everybody is if your parents send me videos, I need a side view and I need a front view. Okay, I'll take a look at those. I'll email back a couple drills that are specific to what you guys can be working on and some feedback on what I'm seeing so that you guys know that the routines that you're putting together for yourself are working. Okay, and I'll give you guys a routine to do for a week so that you know you're staying on track. Okay, I think one of the biggest messages that I got yesterday from talking with all the guys on all the different teams was that guys are hitting off the tee, but it doesn't sound like guys are putting in productive work. So if I hear I've been hitting off the tee, that tells me you're hitting off the tee, but you're not working on something. I want to make sure that when you guys are doing your tee work every day, you're specifically working on something that's going to help you be a better player. Not just I gripped the bat and I took 20 swings and I don't know if those 20 swings were good and I don't know where the ball went on those 20 swings. Okay, let's use this time, like I said, taking a negative situation and making it positive. Let's take this time to learn to be good self-coaches. Okay, and I want to help you guys learn how to do that. So if you guys send me those videos, your parents have the email, send those videos, just take them on your phone. As long as they're clear enough, I can help you guys out. I will give you a routine to do over the next week. All right, and then we can kind of take that on week to week and make sure that these next couple weeks are productive. All right, so get on that. Utilize these drills over the weekend. I'll keep sending out workout videos. I sent one this morning. I'll send out a sprint work one to do over the weekend again. And then we'll hit next week even harder than we have it. All right, fellas. So that's what I'm going to leave you with today. Be safe. Have a fun weekend. Get in whatever work you can. And then next week, we're going to get after it again. All right, fellas. Take care.